Welcome to the 5-Minute Roundup, where I bring you the week's injury news, waivers and streamers in less than the time it takes to boil the kettle. No, not the good kettle, I mean the old one your mum digs out for the builders. Miles Sanders left Sunday's game with a knee injury. He is due an MRI that should give a clearer indication before waivers run. If he does miss, Boston Scott is the guy to go after on waivers. Raheem Mostert suffered an ankle sprain against the Rams and is likely headed to IR. Very unfortunate, as he looked miles better than Jerick McKinnon. Mark Ingram also suffered an ankle sprain, but with the Ravens on bye next week, he may not actually miss a game, and the value with the other backs is limited, even if he does. Get yourself down to your local NFL field to get your very own ankle sprain before they sell out. Zach Ertz and Jonnu Smith both sporting the very fashionable injury, so 2020. Ertz is expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks. Unless you have an IR spot, feel free to drop Ertz, he's been awful so far. Smith's sprain seems less severe, but you may need a substitute for this week. Luckily, there were plenty of interesting performances of the position, which I will cover shortly. My number one waiver pickup for this week is Justin Jackson. Either nobody picked him up or they all dropped him after the bye week, as he's only 12% owned. In week 5 he was the most used and most efficient running back for the Chargers, now heading into a soft matchup with the Jags, and with no sign of Eckler returning soon. Boston Scott may be the starting running back for the Eagles next week. He was poor in this role in week 1, but the Eagles have improved as an offense since then, and there aren't many bodies left standing for Wentz to throw to. He's worth a pickup, but only if you need a start for this week, or if Miles Sanders' injury is very serious. Oh, Jermichael, don't be hasty. This is a guy you can throw a dart on. He is the 5th 49ers running back I've mentioned this season, but 3 of them are now injured, and Kyle Shanahan likes to play with multiple backs. Hasty is an undrafted rookie, so we really don't know what his potential is, but don't we all like a shot at the mystery box? Okay, I missed on this one last week. I thought we'd seen it all before with Greg Ward and plenty of others, but Travis Fulgham now has double-digit targets in 2 weeks and a touchdown for the 3rd straight week. As basically the last man standing who can catch a ball, he's going to continue to see volume and can be slotted straight into your lineup for this week. AJ Green. Sometimes I hate fantasy football. You agonise over a guy week after week, give him second chance after second chance, and then the week you finally decide to cut ties, he has a big game. If he's been dropped in your league too, he's worth picking up. Mike Williams is also available in far too many leagues. Logan Thomas caught his first touchdown since week 1. Perhaps with Allen under centre, he has turned a corner. The matchup with Dallas this week is especially juicy. Darren Fells turned 7 targets into 85 yards and a touchdown this week, looking excellent in the absence of Jordan Akins. Very impressive for a man with no arms. If Aiken misses again, Fells is a great play against the Packers. Anthony Ferkser took over from the injured Jonnu Smith and did excellently in his absence. If Smith misses, it seems that you can largely expect Ferkser to replicate his production. A must-add for this week for Jonnu Smith owners without a backup. The ownership percentages are a little on the high side this week. Everything is settled and there are a few startable quarterbacks under 40% ownership. If none of these guys are available, this might be a week to stick with what you've got. Matthew Stafford gets to play the Falcons this week, who are the defensive equivalent of wearing a mask with your nose out. They gave up 24 points to Kirk Cousins, despite Kirk doing his very best to get himself benched in the first half. Stafford is in for a great game. Gardner Minshew has been Mr. Consistent so far this year, with 5 of 6 performances in that 18 to 24 point window. This week it's the Chargers who give up the 3rd most points to fantasy quarterbacks. Teddy Bridgewater can go straight back into your lineup. He got through the tough matchup with Chicago and now faces the Saints, who give up the 4th most points to fantasy quarterbacks. No slam dunks on defense like the Dolphins last week. The Cleveland Browns have been quietly a solid defense with 2 13-plus fantasy point performances in the last 4 weeks. They take on the Bengals, who give up the 5th most fantasy points to defenses. The Philadelphia Eagles are a solid middle-of-the-pack defense so far. They play the New York Giants this week, who give up the 4th most points to fantasy defenses. We've slightly higher ownership percentages for the kickers too this week, but I'm giving you 4 excellent options here, so you should be able to get your hands on one of them. Dan Carlson has been wonderfully consistent, hitting at least 8 points in every game and at least 12 when in a dome. Young Hui Koo was the 2nd overall kicker last week and looks set to repeat again. By now we've established that Kaimi Fairbairn has a heavy home-road split. You'll be pleased to know he's at home this week, where he averages 12 points per game. Joey Sly is another solid kicker who finds himself in a dome this week.